Welcome back. My name is Lewis, and this is Man Bites Film. This is actually a special edition in which we are actually going to be reviewing a director rather than just random films. This week, we're going to review two films from this particular director and, of course, his body of work as a whole. This director is Akira Kurosawa, one of the most influential directors of all time and the most influential Japanese director, period, in my opinion. And he was actually born in 1910 and died in 1998, 1 year prior to Stanley Kubrick's death. We lost two magnificent directors in a span of 2 years. We will never come back from that. These two directors were reviewed by so many people as the most influential directors, period. Some of the directors that Akira Kurosawa influenced were Steven Spielberg, George Lucas, Francis Ford Coppola, Martin Scorsese. I mean, this guy had so many people that revered him. It was amazing. Actually, Francis Ford Coppola and George Lucas produced the Kagamusha film in 1980, and that film was amazing. It was actually produced by Fox right after Star Wars. George Lucas, which I hate George Lucas. But I guess I gotta give him his props as a producer. He brought this property to Fox and said, "Look, I made you a crap load of money with Star Wars. Now you're gonna produce this for me." So he called in a favor for Kurosawa, and that's the type of director this guy was. He brought together his community. Martin Scorsese actually acts in one of his films as Vincent van Gogh in his dream sequence film that is just phenomenal. That he actually put together 10 different dreams that he had throughout his lifetime and put it into a feature film little by little throughout his lifetime. It starts off as him as a child, very innocent films, and then it progresses little by little, getting darker and darker. When his brother died, it gets really dark. When he had to go to war, when World War II happened, obviously, that was a huge impact on this man. And also then the nuclear era that occurred. Everybody in Japan was scared of nuclear bombs, of course. After the atrocity that occurred in World War II, everybody was scared of these bombs and this nuclear power. So Kurosawa's films influenced a lot by that, and especially when he first started out in the 50s and everything, his films were very, very dark, very bleak, which was very unusual for a Japanese director. Most of the Japanese directors were actually very uplifting films, very happy. Oh yeah, let's make the audiences just laugh and smile about this. Not Kurosawa. Kurosawa brought real passion. His scenery, the way he brought to life a field of flowers, and just every shot of his, very much like Stanley Kubrick, was a postcard. You could literally grab any shot from pretty much especially his later films. You could snapshot it and actually put it as a postcard. They're that beautiful. I mean, just to go into a few, Yojimbo, Sanjuro, Seven Samurai, which is one of the films that I want to start to review. Seven Samurai in 1954 was a 3.5 hour long film starring Toshiro Mifune, which is a phenomenal actor that Kurosawa chose specifically for the part of the non-traditional samurai. He was never really considered a samurai, and he still to this day, nobody really knows if he was a samurai or not. And he's one of the most influential parts of this film and my favorite character of all time. I love his character in this film. He just blows my mind away with how he acts. And every film that he did with Kurosawa, he did a crazy job with it. His facial expressions were like different masks. Each film that he did, you could tell the difference. He just changed himself completely, his facial expressions in each film. And this one, he was supposed to be basically a drunkard, a vagabond that was walking around pretending to be a samurai. And in the end, he gets recruited by these samurais to defend this village of peasants from being raided by bandits. Okay. The film concentrates basically on this one samurai that gets recruited by the village, and he says, I can't defend your village by myself. So I'm going to try to grab 6 more samurais to help me defend the village. But you guys have to do your job too and step in, and we're going to teach you how to fight. That's what we're going to do. We're going to teach you so you're self-sufficient after we leave. Which is very, very... It's a very strong message, especially to Japan after World War II. This came out in 1954. This was less than 10 years after World War II happened. So this is basically saying, look, get off your ass and do something, all right, to the Japanese people. Be yourselves. Don't be influenced by these American people that are in our land, okay? And even though Kurosawa was very influenced by Western civilization, I mean, he literally considered his favorite film of all time Metropolis, which is a very Western film, and it's a beautiful film. He studied a lot of German cinema, and also his favorite director of all time was Ford, and he loved Westerns. So his version of Westerns in Japan were samurai films, and that's where his bread and butter was. In the end, his best films are samurai films. Okay, going back to Seven Samurai, this samurai is actually recruiting these other samurais little by little, and each samurai has a completely different perspective on life, a different characteristic. They're just so personable. They're real people. And then this one last samurai that comes in, a lot of people don't think that he's an actual samurai. They think he's just a vagabond walking around and pretending to be a samurai. And in the end, he's the one that helps pretty much capture everything and put everything together and, help these villagers actually defend themselves. And plus, the way he carries his sword is so badass. He just carries his sword around instead of carrying it, attached to his belt or anything like that. He carries it around behind his back and just wobbles around with it. Like there's no royalty to it. He's just a peasant that knows how to use a sword, which is so cool, and it's so reused over and over and over again. I saw actually a recent film, The Good, the Bad, and the Weird, which was one of the characters was heavily influenced by Toshiro Mifune's character, big time. It was so good, and this film resonates over and over and over again. It gets actually remade into The Magnificent Seven as a Western, and so many of Kurosawa's films are remade. Star Wars was influenced by this. Hidden Fortress was Star Wars was a copycat of Hidden Fortress, completely copied storyline. Okay, and then you have Seven Samurai by Magnificent Seven, and also Fistful of Dollars was Yojimbo. It was a remake of Yojimbo, literally shot by shot remake of it. I mean, this director was used over and over again for his style. Another film that completely blew me away the first time I saw this, Ran. It's 1985, and it's 2 hours and 42 minutes long. The costumes were created by hand. Okay, the set was massive, this guy actually built a full-size castle for one of the battle sequences and then burned down the whole thing. Okay? He burned down a full set that was 2-3 stories high. Okay? A castle on the what do you call it, the slopes of Mount Fuji in Japan. All right? He used 2,400 extras in this film and 600 horses. Out of those 2,400 extras, 1,400 of them were in full armor. Okay? Kurosawa was 76 years old when he filmed this. All right? It took 160 days to shoot this thing, and it is a masterpiece. That film is so beautifully shot. There's a scene that in the battle sequence, the main battle sequence of this film, it's completely silent. Not a single thing, just the music swells. And all you see is the battle. All the people falling down, just this full army falling apart and dying. All the people in the castle dying because what's attacking the castle is so massive. And then it cuts to the emperor sitting in the throne room, and all the arrows start shooting in from sides everywhere. And all you see are the arrows on fire going across in front of the screen. And he's just staring like this, with this mad look in his eye, like just completely lost it, like he's not there anymore. And you feel this character so much. This 5-minute segment of the film is one of the most beautiful segments I have ever seen. Okay? It's one of the things that influenced me to want to be a filmmaker, because of the beautiful cinematography in this film. My father introduced this actually to me when I was younger, and I didn't appreciate it. But man, when I actually sat down and saw it, when I was of an age that I could actually appreciate it, it is beautiful. And there's scenes where he's in a long field, and it's just a long shot of this field, and the wind is just with the grass swaying with the wind, and he just swells music during this scene for no reason. It's just a cutaway shot, and a lot of the scenes are completely altered by him. The battle sequence, again, the smoke that he creates, he actually had fans with dry ice underneath them, but I'm talking about industrial size fans, the size of maybe like a car, okay? And he had 30-40 of them lined up off camera on both sides, throwing wind and smoke towards where the action was happening. Okay? I mean, oh my god, and you want to talk about epic battle sequences. Holy crap. I mean, the closest thing that I could imagine nowadays is Lord of the Rings. That final battle sequence in Return of the King, that's the epicness that this man does a battle. And this was prior to CG. So there's not a single CG shot in this film. And it is spectacular. If you have not seen Ran or Seven Samurai, please do yourself a favor. Rent it. Buy it. Do something. Watch this 2 films, because they are spectacular. His other films are just as good. I mean, you go into Sanjuro, Yojimbo, they're all samurai films, and they're amazing. High and Low, Ikiru, Kagamusha is fantastic. It's kind of dated, that one, because it used special effects. Of course, it's George Lucas influence in there. So yes, there is special effects, unfortunately. Dreams is an amazing film. Dreams, I loved this film so much. I've watched it I don't know how many times. All right, this is the one that I was telling you earlier about, that it's just him 10 different dreams throughout his lifetime. So when he was a child, when he was adult, when he was middle-aged, and the last one is one of my favorites of all time. He actually goes to the village of watermills, and he finds this village just backpacking through Japan, and he arrives to the village, and there is actually a ceremony, a funeral ceremony going on, and these guys, the whole village, gets up and grabs things to celebrate this man's life. And he's confused by this, because he's like, what do you mean you're celebrating his death? No, we're not celebrating his death. We're celebrating his life. We want to show the world how joyful his spirit was. And so when he moves on to the next life, his spirit will be as joyful as it was during his life. I was just blown away by this concept and this beautiful cinematography that he filmed during it. It just blows my mind. It's one of my favorite segments I've ever seen. And then, of course, you got the Vincent van Gogh that Martin Scorsese is acting in. And he actually meets Vincent van Gogh. But it's very interesting how he does it, because Kurosawa was a painter prior to making films. And so, of course, he has a very big background and influence on paintings. And he's visiting a museum in which Vincent van Gogh is featured. And he sees a painting of Van Gogh. And he turns the painting into real life. He goes into the painting. And he's actually walking through different paintings of Vincent van Gogh. Okay? And this is Kurosawa putting the scene together for different paintings of Vincent van Gogh. And in one of the scenes where there's a field and these crows coming out in that painting, he actually sees Van Gogh painting that picture itself. And he explains to him why he does the art that he does. He explains that it's this feeling that overcomes him, that he can't stop himself. He needs to get up off his butt and just go, because it's like a locomotive. It can't be stopped. He just needs to go somewhere and paint whatever he feels that is beautiful. And everything to Van Gogh is beautiful in this story. He just, he looks at something and he sees the influence immediately, and he says, that is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. And if it's not the most beautiful thing I've ever seen, I see it as the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. I just thought that was amazing, and that blew my mind as an aspiring filmmaker. That's what we get into the art for. That's what everybody gets into the art for. It's to show your vision, to fall in love with your vision, to fall in love with another person's vision. That's what art is about. And this guy's life just personifies that. His films are art. His films are the most beautiful things I've ever seen. And they themselves are like a painting onto their own. They influenced myself. They influenced countless famous directors and very influential directors on this generation. Okay, this man is, in my opinion, one of the most renowned directors of all time. And he was actually snubbed by the Academy Awards all the way until 1990, where he didn't receive an Academy Award. No, they couldn't do that, because the Academy Award does not recognize good art. What they recognize is whoever could pay more money towards their dues. Okay, they gave them a lifetime. They gave him a Lifetime Achievement Award because they had no choice. He was considered the most influential director of all time, and all these directors said it. So they gave him the award finally. But he deserved better than that. He deserved Academy Awards for countless films, including Ran, including Seven Samurai, Sanjuro, Hidden Fortress. Man, the list goes on. Throne of Blood. Oh my God, Throne of Blood is one of the most beautiful films I've ever seen too. And again, that's Toshiro Mifune at his best. Just beautiful. Okay? Akira Kurosawa. His life is one of the most important artists' lives in our generation. And he will continue to influence people from here on out. And I just wanted to dedicate this episode to him because I revere this man so much. And now, of course, like every episode, we're gonna show you our feature artist for this week.
With just 4 words, we are dirt on fire. Don't you love how it burns? How it burns. And close your eyes, tell me, what do you see? Tell me, I wanna follow all your lies. Make me believe, 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 believe. Make me believe, 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 believe. Make me believe. Can you try to move the earth with just one hand? Do you battle with this curse? Are we condemned?
Will we ever learn to make it? Can we, won't we always fake it? Make me
Believe, 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 believe. Make me believe, 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 believe. Make me believe. Do you feel it now? Canary died somehow. And close your eyes, tell me, why do you bleed? Tell me, I wanna follow all your lies. Make me believe, 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 believe. Make me
All right, thank you guys so much for watching this episode and checking out our feature artist this week. Please like, share, repost, and let me know. Give me a comment if you liked it, enjoyed this type of episode. Thank you guys so much, and see you guys next week.